So I'd like to know, what is your personal journey and how you got started getting involved in protecting children in the way that you're protecting children?
Well, it's been a long journey, and I completed our family story in December. I published a book called Damaged by the Predators Among Us. So our story is about basically being married to a and the story of him and his boyfriends who sexually abused our children. I mean, raped our children. And so our story started 45 years ago. And, you know, I didn't know, and this is, to my chagrin, that I had no idea what was going on when I was at work and when my children were alone with my former husband. I I was so naive in the sense that I married him because I thought he loved me and I loved him and thought we had this wonderful little family. And behind it all was this highly manipulative man who was doing all kinds of other things, anyways. And
Mhm.
so finally, I mean, he had had several homosexual affairs during the course of our marriage, and after about 2 or 3 years of marriage, he told me about the first one, and I made this cognitive decision to forgive him. He seemed, very repentant, if you want to call it that, and yeah, I won't, yeah, I just really, infidelity is infidelity. Okay. I'm going to stay with him for the sake of our children, and the absolute worst decision of my life,
Mhm.
because it wasn't just me he was offending, and you want to call it sinning against. He was just so deviant in all of his behavior on every level. So I found that out though after I had divorced, and so I was a single mom with 3 children, and subsequently remarried to a man who absolutely does love me. And
Mhm.
we've been together 31 years. He's a
Wow.
wonderful husband and a good dad to the children that he never gave birth to, so to speak. And
Mhm.
so, anyways, 2 months after we were married, uh, my one son came to me and told me about this being sexually abused. So that's how it started. So that he told me that that would have been 33 years ago. So, and
Mhm.
we went through the whole court process. My former husband was acquitted. It's a long story. It's all in my book. It's horrific, really.
Mhm.
Anyways, and the story of my 2 boys who talk about their abuse, so they each have a chapter. So 45 years in the making to this day, in
Yeah.
that sense, it's not a journey I would wish on anyone. You don't
Mhm.
wish this on anyone, but it's the journey that I've had to take, and you get to make a lot of choices along the way. And one of them is
Mhm.
that I ended up going back to school after I'd been married for a couple of years because I really wanted to know. I had no idea how to help these traumatized children. I knew we were having lots of struggles, but I didn't understand what the root was. I knew they were abused, but
Mhm.
parents don't know how to deal with that. Like, I didn't
Mhm.
have any education or any understanding of that. So that's why I went back to school. I ended up, going and getting my master's and having a private practice, counseling primarily individuals, adults who had been struggling with childhood sexual abuse. And so complex trauma became my lane. My first book was about complex trauma, treating it, integrating theology and psychology, because I also have a degree in theology. And
Mhm.
so putting all that all together. So it's been step by step. I would never have seen myself as an advocate in this,
Mhm.
well, advocating for children, but kind of in a very low key way. But to become an activist was a shock. When a
Mhm.
friend told me, "And you're such an activist," and he said that word, and I'm like, "Not me. that
Mhm.
that can't really be talking about me." And I'm like, give your head a shake. Of course you are. And now I
Hmm.
just embrace it because I'm like, hey, that's who I am, and I won't step back from that because someone has to advocate, and it takes a certain level of activism to be able to even get people to begin to listen to you. So that's
Hmm.
kind of how I got here. That's a long story. And so subsequently, then I written three other books. The
Hmm.
first one in 2017 to really try and my goal, honestly, in writing Closing the Floodgates, setting the record straight on gender and sexuality, it's not about beating anybody up. It's about sharing truth, and truth heals
Hmm.
people. And if you understand some of the strategy behind what's going on in the education system and in our culture, then you're more aware. You can go, wow, wait a minute, we need to do something. And really, it was a call for parents to unite, to stand up, to stand firm, to stand strong, and not cave to the agenda. That was 2017. No one really was listening.